This demonstration video has been prepared by Synaptic Advisory Partners LLC in response to GCERCRF key number 203418255Q00004. The recording includes a structured walkthrough of the proposed Salesforce-based grants management solution, highlighting each functional capability aligned to GCERC's performance work statement. This format ensures clarity, transparency, and alignment with GCERC's evaluation requirements. Send reminders based on the period of performance end date. After approval of the program package, Paul, the grants manager, uses email templates to increase productivity and ensure consistent messaging. Here we see Paul creating a rich, engaging email for the award recipients through a visual email builder. On the funding program, Peter can review the approvals for the spending plan and funding, send a notification to existing award recipients about the availability of additional funding, and send a request for an updated project plan using the template created above. Existing award recipients receive additional funding notifications and submit updated plans. Paul automates repeatable tasks, improving grantee collaboration and productivity. He assigns task owners, deadlines, and monitors progress for compliance. John, the grantee, receives Paul's email as well as this in-app notification to inform him of a task to update his statement of work. John has instant visibility into the project using the provided checklist of tasks and required documents. He heads to the Feed tab, where he can reply to Paul and converse as needed about the task. John is then able to quickly upload an updated statement of work, provide annotations about the new version, and initiate a review process which even allows him to provide some context notes for Paul. Paul is notified when John's updated statement of work has been submitted. Once he's evaluated the new version, Paul can record the results of his assessment to close out the required document in the checklist. With eligibility established, applicant funding is calculated via an easy, no-code interface, which public sector organizations use to automate all types of complex policy-based rules, easily flexing to respond to mission needs. John, a grant recipient, can easily make amendments to his award from the grantee portal. The portal is an external-facing, one-stop shop for everything John would need pertaining to his grants, including grant award modifications. John wants to request an increase in funding for his existing award, the Virginia Rural Renewal Initiative. On the Modification tab, he can easily initiate this process through a guided user experience that breaks the grant's modification process into easily completed chunks. The form is dynamic in nature, and it responds to John's inputs so as not to burden him with fields that he doesn't need to fill out. Since John is already authenticated, form fields can auto-populate with his existing data to minimize data entry. For the purpose of the demonstration, we are going to auto-populate all fields. Once John has completed the form, the status will update to completed. He will also initiate Form 424A. Not all forms are applicable to award modifications, and John only needs to fill out 424 and 424A as part of this demonstration. The grant award modification process is seamless and guides John along the way with breadcrumbs on the right-hand side. Once the modification is submitted, it will be routed to the respective grant officer, and John can easily track its status on the record page. Let's pivot over to Paul, the grant officer, to illustrate the grant award modification review process. Paul receives a bell notification along with the ability to view all his assignments that are pending approvals. Before he approves, he wants to review the details of the modification that John just submitted. On the grant award modification page, he has various tools at his fingertips that allow him to effectively perform his day-to-day activities. Paul can have a side-by-side view of the modification details along with the PDFs that John uploaded so that he doesn't have to pivot back and forth between files and the modification details. Paul also needs to perform a funds availability check. With MuleSoft, you can easily integrate with any financial system in real time. Once this check has been performed, the grant officer is ready to approve. The approval process can involve multiple parties, but for the purpose of the demonstration, the grant officer is the sole approver. Once approved, the status of the grant award modification will change to Issue Award Agreement, and the grant officer can perform any final checks before initiating an e-signature process. The subject and details are auto-populated here, and Paul will do a final review before sending the award agreement with modifications over to John. Paul can also track the status of the e-signature process. Once sent, John receives an email requesting his signature. after which the grant officer will also receive an email to sign the award agreement. After Paul provides his e-signature, the system automatically updates the grant award modification record to Resolved Completed, and the e-signed award agreement will be attached to the record. The DocuSign envelope status will show as completed. Paul can also publish the award modification information. Paul has everything he needs in single platform with a 360-degree view of the grant recipient. The Salesforce platform allows him to be productive without having to focus on manual or repetitive tasks. On the grantee portal, our recipient, John, initiates an advanced payment request for one of Virginia's current active projects. In the past, this meant John needed to going into multiple different systems, but today he has access to everything he needs through the grantee portal. Once submitted, we move back to our grant officer. The grant officer, Peter, can now see all of the information about a new payment request, whether it's for a reimbursement, advance, or other payment type. The system has brought all the relevant information in one single view to aid in the review process. While Peter is filling out his checklist items, he can refer to key details on the award, initial application, project, and more. Once complete, the request for advance payment is approved and a funds availability check is initiated. A seamless integration to the financial system through an enterprise API platform allows John to have a single place to go to for all his grantee needs, and Peter to make the request and receive a timely response back regarding the status of the payment. The portal is John's one-stop shop for all of his post-award grant activity. On the project, the grantee has access to all their project information, modifications, reports, audits, and more. Review all the subawards associated with the project. Add new subawardees to the project individually or in bulk. Begin with the required post-award activities by submitting a progress report containing subaward recipients' performance. Enter subaward recipients' data and make calculations in real time. Salesforce's digital process automation tool gives grantees a guided path for completing a business process and serves as a configurable way of creating a seamless grantee experience. Next, the grantee submits a consolidated financial report containing subaward recipients' financial information. Through the digital process automation tool, paper-based processes are digitized, allowing the agency to configure interactive business processes that are easy to use, yet have complex functionality occurring behind the scenes. The last item for the grantee to complete as part of the terms in their award agreement is submitting the consolidated compliance report. Here our grantee indicates if they are completing the required actives and terms and conditions of the agreements. This also extends to the subawardees, where the grantee can enter each subawardee's compliance or allow the subawardee to log into the portal and input the information themselves. On the project record in the console, Peter can see a complete 360-degree view of the grantee's project. Information submitted by the grantees are automatically aggregated and displayed through interactive visuals, providing Peter with real-time insights. The consolidate reports submitted by grantees are front and center, providing a guided review process. In the console, navigating is easy and the grant officer can review the award agreement at any time. Lastly, audit reports are generated in the system through OMB repositories like the Federal Audit Clearinghouse through Salesforce's Enterprise Integration Platform. Audits help maintain accountability, transparency, and financial integrity in the management of federal grant funds. The grant officer is now easily able to identify instances of non-compliance or internal control deficiencies and implement corrective actions. This concludes our demonstration, which we believe clearly demonstrates excellent understanding of your requirements, exceeds performance capability standards, and highlights strengths that deliver meaningful benefits to the government.